robotic delivery on her, gets away with a disperse.
Some damage on the best. Stone Shield prevents almost all of the Fearless. Right.
Shadow keeps juking Real. Real can't find the head. Shadow's still alive.
He's fighting for his life. He's fighting for the championship. He's fighting for everything he stands.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 72 of Smite Update. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me today we do have Smitten and HiRez. How's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Nice delay. I like the delay. I appreciate it. That was pretty good. So, HiRez, how are you, man? If your mic is unmuted. Oh, he muted himself. Now he's trying to figure
Okay.
Hey!
There we go!
Hey,
Good job.
first
Dude.
time, guys.
Dude,
First time.
We need a break.
It's
I
okay.
got called in the last minute, so that's my excuse.
It's going good. It's going good. Well, excellent, guys. If you guys are experiencing lag in chat, please let me know, and I can go ahead and check that. Lance, our moderator, let me know. In the meantime, guys, welcome to the Smite Update. If you guys are unfamiliar with what the show is and what it's about, this is a show that highlights a variety of different things within Smite, along with community stuff, esports, and then finally just talking about the patch. Today will be a quick show, a lot shorter than normal. We want to get something in right after the NA Regional Championship that just finished up about 15 minutes ago. Fdot is not with us this week. He is down in Atlanta, as you guys saw on camera there, going ahead and commentating and helping out with the event down there. So before we jump into things a little bit about Smite here, kind of ask you guys, what have you been up to in Smite? Throw it over to Raffer. What have you been up to since the EU event, and what have you been doing with Smite?
I've just been drowning my sorrows, to be honest with you. Just partying. That's about it. No, I just joke. I mean, I'm not joking. I did, but I just, a key ranked and a raging rank. It's the usual stuff. And stream. I stream every day now, so it's gave me a lot more time to focus on my streaming. That's the good points of it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. A little less pressure on you now that kind of like things are past, and I know it was kind of stressful for a while for you guys as well. So I guess it kind of works out a pretty decent amount. And Smitten, what about you? What have you been up to since our last show?
I've been recording some secret videos.
Ooh, that could be
And,
looked at in a very bad direction, to be honest with you.
Would you? Okay, it wouldn't have been saying anything. I'm saying good job.
What can I say? I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm recording a special video for
Okay.
my 10,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's awesome.
That kind of special, like celebratory special. But in Smite, last night was just playing around on stream and did some like pretty crazy stuff with Al Kwong support.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. But yeah,
Okay.
streaming YouTube.
Awesome. Well, good for you. Good for you. That is great. For myself, I've been, I typically play Smite Tuesday through Thursday, as my stream knows, and then I've been playing a little bit of some other stuff here and there, just as kind of an outlet from Smite. Everything I do seems to be engulfed within Smite. So I've been playing a little Titanfall. I've been playing a little CSGO, kind of changing things up a little bit. Definitely have that itch for Overwatch, so I think I'm playing as much first-person shooters as I can right now. But before we move forward and jump into a little bit more about community news, and then we'll jump into esports, I want to remind you guys that this show is available on iTunes if you guys are interested. It's also available on the Android platform as well. So if you guys have Slacker on Android, or if you're using the iTunes app, just look up Smite Update, and the audio version is there. You'll find this show there uploaded Tuesday morning is when you find it, the audio version. So let's jump into our community news. I wanted to link you guys. MLB Star 17, brings it to us again this time around after the event went ahead and ended there. And I'll put a link in chat and also in the comments. He puts together these like survival guides for the events, and this time was no different. He went ahead and brought out the North American Regional Championship Survival Guide. He did the same thing with the EU event, and he does a breakdown of the same aspect for each of the games as well. So check those out on Reddit. Something else that we saw come out here on Reddit, which was I didn't think was a big deal until I saw it had like 300 comments on Reddit, and the title of it was HiRez and Greed, and I'll put a link in the Twitch chat here, and I don't mind getting some of your guys' opinions. Pretty much this is an article that was put together, this guy named the Bear Prophet, and he pretty much talks about the fact of the community's constantly complaining and bitching about the fact of the cost of items in game, and how dare HiRez go ahead and list things at 600 gems, and how dare HiRez require all the Odyssey items to get the final Thanatos item. And some people sided with HiRez, saying, hey, they're here to make money, they didn't do so well with tribes, this is their way to come back from it. And other people are like, hey, these are too expensive for a free-to-play game. So what do you think, Smitten? What do you think of some of these accusations that people are making and that made this Reddit post grow so large?
I hear a lot of people QQing about the fact that they can't get a 600 gem skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, of all the things in the world that you have to complain about in the world of Smite, especially, you choose to, bitch about, like, expensive skins. That's ridiculous. Having skins, obviously, despite popular belief, does not increase your ability to play the freaking game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, it doesn't matter whether or not you have the skin. Like, everything's still free.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think people are just QQing too much.
Raffer, what do you think? Coming from a player perspective, do you feel that, especially, player salaries and your situation, do you feel that a lot of the skins are too expensive from a player perspective, or what do you think?
It's a free-to-play game. The skins are just, it doesn't give you an advantage, does it? So I just think they're not too expensive, and you don't need them. If they are too expensive for you, then don't buy them. And if you really want the skin that much, then join a tournament and get gems that way. If you've really got no money, that's all I can say about it, to be honest. I mean, the gods, they may be a bit too expensive to buy for new players, but support HiRez, buy the god pack.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something that I picked up, just the God Pack alone. I think it was like day 3 of playing Smite, and I was like, $30, like, and to me then, I was like, oh, I better get it before this opportunity's over, because I thought they were going to drop that when the game launched, and then they kept it same price and release, and I feel like that's the biggest no-brainer with Smite. Like, even if you don't buy any skins ever, and you can't afford them, if you can ask your parents for Christmas or a birthday to buy you the God Pack, like, you're set in the game.
It's not like, like HiRez is taking the money that you spend on gems or the God Pack and they go out and eat steak dinners every night. I mean, it's not what they're doing with your money. They're investing it back into the game, which helps everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people are like, I hate having to spend money on this game that I am obsessed with and play 40 hours a week or something ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, just calm down. Calm down.
Yeah,
it's all right. It
was interesting. The person that put together the Reddit post, the gentleman there, the Bear Prophet, pretty much, kind of explained, like, hey, like, there's a variety of different ways that HiRez is making money here, and if HiRez is able to make money, they're able to host these events. If you guys have noticed, like, not a lot of publishers out there for video games are able to go ahead and host their own esports events, like the NA regionals and like the online tournaments, just like the fact of the World Championship as well. Like, not a lot of publishers can do that. Granted, someone like Blizzard on the other side of things has more money than God and can do it, but for a lot of other publishers out there, they really can't. So there's nothing wrong with feeding their pockets with money so that they can give it back and grow the scene through esports and stuff like that. So I thought it was an interesting article. It will be in the notes. Moving forward from there, we did get an opportunity to check out the new Thanatos Odyssey skin, and
I haven't looked at it yet.
I will put a link in chat. This was okay. This is the one that.
Oh my god!
This is the one that the community went ahead and voted upon during the different concept arts, and the way that this skin will work, from what you can see, is as you level Thanatos, he gets more and more angelic, I guess you can say, or more godly. And so I got to throw it to the Thanatos player himself, iRaffer. What do you think about this skin?
Yeah, I think it's pretty troll because Thanatos falls off late game, and the more awesome he looks, the worse he is. Yeah. So that's all I can say about the skin. I was saying that the first time I seen it because I think it was like a few weeks ago I seen it. They said, "Look at this skin." I was like, "So the stronger you get, more awesome you look." But you're really getting weaker. You're getting weaker in the end stages of the game. So I don't know. That's all. But it does look good. It does look really good.
That is, I didn't even think about that, dude. That's like super troll.
Rapper's like, this is garbage. He's great early game.
It's
Yeah.
epic. It's
I know.
beautiful. I love this concept. But look, like he doesn't have a halo in the beginning, and then it just becomes increasingly more epic.
Yeah, I think it follows up directly off of like what they did with Chalk. If you look at Chalk and kind of like the Slaughterhouse one, where as he goes on and on, he starts to get bloodier and bloodier. Now, granted, that's on off of levels and everything like that. So it's pretty cool though to see how that works out for sure. I mean, that's it's pretty cool. I'm really happy with it. This was something posted on Reddit, by the way. This isn't something that like I'm releasing. I'm not sure where the person got it on Reddit, but I'm just reposting what's on Reddit. So keep that in mind, guys. So pretty cool. Really excited for this. I'm hoping to see more and more of these things. I think it would be pretty cool. There's some other skins that we have now, which I think could be really neat to have. Like, think about the nuclear Ymir skin and having him the same concept where like he glows a little bit green, but by the end he's level 20. He's like super green and almost looking like he's ready to explode. I think there's a lot of cool ideas that they can do with this concept of, okay, as you level, you go ahead and you know, you have that opportunity to get these different features and looks. So pretty cool concept. What any other thoughts on that?
There's so much, okay, and I know people are, like, part of what we were talking about just a second ago is, like, people bitching about how much, like, like, they have to get all the Odyssey items in order to get this skin, but, like, I don't think they understand the amount of work and effort that has to go into making a skin like this and make it, like, work correctly. Like, it's different. It's, like, the artwork is different for each phase that it goes through, and with the artwork changing, then the effects have to change. So, like, there's so much that goes into it. Why, I mean, like, honestly, I don't have any problem with buying all the Odyssey items in order to get that skin. Like,
I love how someone in chat's like, I sell drugs to buy gems. One addiction for another, huh?
Oh my god.
So moving on here, last thing, just community content here, just wanted to go over. Last week we had a lot of community content that was driven by the community. We had that like cool paper Odin and some other videos and stuff like that. So once again, if you guys have any content that you want us to highlight on the show, this section's for you. Just go ahead and email the show, SmiteUpdate@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it. You got a website you're launching, you got a cool thing you're working on in school around Smite, a neat project, you know, let us know. We don't mind highlighting it at all. So, excuse me, last thing I want to talk about, somebody posted on Reddit about this as well. They said, please change the your account does not have access to this game when the servers are down. If you guys haven't realized, when the servers are down, instead of getting a message that says the servers are offline, you actually get a message that says you don't have access to this game, which from my understanding is the exact same message that you get when you're banned. So...
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought I was banned when I got it, and it was a week before the tournament. I was like, yeah,
oh
rip,
my
guys.
word, yeah. You would have heard it from me. Are you kidding me? How did you get banned from the game? So something some people had commented on was, one, it needs to be changed to say like the servers are offline or something like that. But I thought it would be really cool, and I know companies sometimes steer away from this because they hate to give the idea that, oh, their servers on occasion they're not up or having issues. But there are some cool community websites.
I love how they're like trying to mask the fact that we still have shit for server.
Yeah, right. What I was saying was there are some community websites out there for Blizzard and for their servers, and you could go on them and see, okay, like Archimon is down or Archimon is up, or you can see Archimon's having trouble at the current moment. And I think something like that would be really cool for HiRez to come out and say, listen, we see the need for this to be available in the community. If it is at the splash screen that when you click on Smite comes up, or if it's on their website and it's just called like the Smite server status, and it just shows the server location, and then it shows the current status. Is it up? Is it down? Is it experiencing problems? Because I think that's important to reflect that to your community and then push that site so that we as the community have an outlet. Raffer, what are your thoughts on this idea? Do you think this would be beneficial, especially for you as like a ranked or pro player?
I'm sorry, dude. This is gonna sound really troll, but I didn't actually hear what you just said.
Oh.
My audio cut out.
That's okay.
Can you just put it?
Sure,
can you put it in the short
sure.
sentence?
Do you see a website that gives you the status of the Smite servers being up or down as beneficial to you as a ranked or pro player?
No. Yeah, it doesn't really affect me, to be honest. I just log in the game. See, if I get in a ranked, you usually take like 19 minutes to match me anyway,
Oh,
so
my word.
it wouldn't affect me personally. It may
Okay.
affect the people
Okay.
who check.
Smitten, what about you? Is that something that would benefit you to see, oh, like, the servers are having issues right now, I shouldn't queue for ranked or something like that?
From the YouTuber's perspective, yes, that would help me out a lot because that would allow me to like allocate my time to something else for a little bit until the servers are okay. Like I could, instead of like be frustrated with not being able to, with like high ping or anything in game, like having to worry about that, and during my recording, like I can focus on maybe doing thumbnails or improving like little bits here and there, working on my keywords and stuff like that. So it would help me out just on the YouTube perspective. I don't know necessarily how it would help the community as a whole. I guess it would make people feel better and feel like the Hi-Rez is trying to reach out and be like, hey, this is what's going on right now. So I don't know. It may make people feel better, not necessarily. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure, sure. I mean, and the whole purpose of it is to kind of put the community at ease when there is actually like trouble going on or stuff like that. I mean, that's the biggest thing is I see people complain about, hey, I'm about to get into ranked, and I'd love to know if I actually, are the Smite servers having trouble? So I know, hey, don't get into ranked. Now, granted, I guess that's kind of goes against things a little bit because HiRez wants to see people queuing for ranked, but at the same time, like if my ranked rating is on the line, I really don't want to be playing when my ping is through the roof because the servers are getting DDoS or something like that. Like that's something to keep in mind, I think, a lot. So let's go ahead here. We'll go ahead and move on to Streamer of the Week and then jump into Esports here. Lots to talk about there. Something cool I've actually started to see turning up is the Streamer of the Week I'd like to go ahead and nominate is Kooncoon. And Kooncoon is actually a Korean Smite player. Like just like you see your StarCraft Korean players, this guy is a he is a Korean player. Has started. There's a bunch of them that are starting to play more and more. They have proxies and they actually play on the NA servers right now. I don't know if it's because they dislike the way that things are set up between Tencent or the servers there, but or they just want to play with the new gods. I know a lot of people do that, but this guy plays on the North American servers. Lives in Korea. I went ahead and actually checked it out earlier today, and I caught him previously. So go check it out. I'll put the link in chat. And if you guys have a streamer that you want us to promote and nominate for Streamer of the Week on the show, email it to us, SmiteUpdate@gmail.com, and we'd love to go ahead and highlight that person or even yourself if you feel you should be nominated. We always enjoy, checking people out and promoting their stream. So let's jump into community questions of the week, and I'll throw it over to Smitten. She can go ahead and take the first one.
Sorry, I was reading Kooncoon's, like, I love going down and like looking at streamers, like the information they have below the stream, and like his general purpose one with his picture or with it says Kooncoon, like, oh my god, I love it. Okay, so first question, email from Mike. What, in your opinion, is the best way to figure out exactly what kind of learner you are, so you can come up with different ways to really outline your bad habits in gameplay so that you can improve further in general? I have a learning disability which is really detrimental when it comes to learning stuff, especially Smite. So that's why I'm curious. Okay, so from me specifically, this is what I would do if I was in your situation, or if I was anybody trying to improve in a serious way. I would get outside perspective, because there's only so much that you can catch about your own habits, but it's like, it's from your perspective of your behavior, so you're not going to be able to catch all the little flaws. So I would say get somebody else who's better at the game at you. I know a lot of the pros do like lessons and things like that for like a very small fee. So you can get that kind of quality perspective for like a really low amount of money.
Raffer, can you coach me so I can be better?
Yeah, teach me, senpai.
Yeah. That's what you should do. You could do coaching.
$15 an hour, dude.
That's right. There you go.
Because you didn't make me the Streamer of the Week, it's going to be $20 for you.
Oh, man, it's so expensive.
Sorry, dude.
You said $10 an hour, right?
I know, man.
Yeah, so like that's 10. Like you learn. So I've taken lessons before, and an hour, like in an hour, like
Mm-hmm.
you learn so much for like $10. I mean, come on.
I feel like coaching will explode in the scene when you actually have the ability to pick to if there's some option somewhere. Now, granted, I know it would mess up things with like um, ghosting and stuff like that. But if you had the option to do like live spectating, and you could, for example, like I was the person getting coached by Raffer and live spectating of some way. Putting all things aside, Raffer can go ahead and spectate off of me live, and then he could give me comments and suggestions and stuff like that. I feel like until then, it's here's a replay, review it, and then give me your recommendations. Or you play with that person. Like, you know,
Right.
you would have to almost do like a dual lane type of setup, so you're always playing with that person. But
That's what I did.
yeah, Raffer, what is your view on coaching right now in the scene? Like, from what you've seen, is it something that a lot of pro players are pushing towards? Is it valuable? What are your thoughts on coaching right now in the scene?
Coaching? I don't know. I'm noticing that a lot of the pro wannabe players,
Yeah.
not Shadowkey, but it tends to be pro wannabes. You know, people who couldn't make it in the scene, who think I want to be in the pro scene, but I'm not good enough myself, so I'm going to try and coach other people. And I don't mean to be BM by saying that, but that's just my opinion on it. I'll tell you how it is.
Right.
Okay.
I think it could work, but as you said, you need them extra features that you spoke about. You know, spectating individual players, etc.
Yeah.
I think that'll really help it.
So the person getting back to the question a little bit here, talks about, how do you identify? So I'll throw it over to you, Raffer, just as a pro player, as a pro player, how do you identify your flaws or ways that you can improve? Are there certain things that you do, or what comes to mind when someone says, how do you identify how to improve?
See, that's really hard for me because I don't make mistakes. I'm the best, dude. So I wouldn't be able to answer it.
I just want to throw it. Yeah. Where were you at? Where were you at the EU LAN, bro? Where were you at the EU LAN, huh?
Wasn't me, dude. It was
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I wasn't there.
Like classic answer.
And I had lag spikes.
Okay.
So how often do you watch your replays? Do you watch your replays after like most matches?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah,
how
always
many...
go back on your replays. Always go back on your replays to see what you did wrong. You always see flaws. You think, why was I even there? What was I thinking at that moment in time? And then in future games, you'll think about that moment and you won't do it again.
I hardly ever watch my replays, but I see. But like we're not trying to be pros though.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. So how long do you typically spend on just watching your replays? I've always been curious about that. Do you just watch it through once and you're like, all right, or do you watch it a couple times?
Yeah, Raffer. How much time do you spend, Raffer? Come on now. How much time do you spend?
Try to watch them every now and then. You can't have a whole day dedicated because you can't take that much information and you need a break. So I just say watch a few replays every night before you go to sleep, and then you can just sleep on it and have a think and try and use some of the information you got the next day and see if it improves you.
Yeah.
Like by a big margin.
I like that. I love sleeping on things I gotta think about.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea.
I'm a female though, so it's different, I guess.
If you have sleeping problems like me, I'm tossing and turning for about 2 hours.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So you just sit there and think about your replays,
Yeah,
how bad your team is.
Yeah, how bad my team is and how good I am. That's what I think.
Because he's the best. He's the best.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really. I mean, in my situation, more as a content creator and stuff like that, and I don't do any ranked. I know Smitten does. I'm not really watching my replays in Smite, but I know when I was pushing it pretty hard in StarCraft 2 and pushing for Masters, I was watching a lot of replays and getting people. The nice thing about StarCraft 2 is also you could just send a replay to someone regardless of how old it was, and someone could review it for you and get back to you and stuff like that. So unfortunately, we don't have that feature as much in Smite, but I can agree with Raffer that that feature of being able to go back and watch your replays and study them and critique them, I think, is super valuable. So our second question here is, this one's from Carson, and I really like this question.
I do too.
It says, I asked my parents if I could go to Worlds, but after they read the world's 8 most elite Smite teams from 5 regions will gather in Atlanta to fight to become the Smite World Champion, They just called me a nerd and said no. How do I convince them for me to go? Love the show. Keep up the good work. So, Raffer, I would love to know what your recommendations are for this this guy Carson on how to convince his parents to allow him to go to Worlds.
Chloroform.
I don't know. Just beg, I guess. It's all you can do. Just beg.
I'm liking the chloroform option. No, if that was me, if I was a little like teenager and I was living with my parents and I was like, "Yo, Dad, I want to go to this thing that's really important to me."
Yeah.
That's how I would put it across to them. I would like make sure that they know that it's not just like, you know, like you played with Power Ranger dolls for like 5 minutes when you were younger, even though your parents bought you the whole set. Like they need to know that you're invested in it. They need to know that you're interested. So I would let them know just how important it is to you to go and what it would mean to you, and then that's how you would convince them.
Yeah, I mean, I think
At least my parents. I work with my parents for sure.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because when I read this question, I actually thought of HiRez Kelly. Those of you guys who know HiRez Kelly know that her parents are like big gamers, and so growing up, like her parents were all about games and playing games and stuff like that. So when I thought of this person, I actually thought the opposite, which was Kelly, where she had this huge parental support for gaming and stuff like that. And so that's what kind of clicked into my mind. If you guys ever have a chance, ask Kelly. She has a really interesting, you know, childhood having parents that were big into gaming. But with you, Carson, my recommendation would be you need to show your parents that what value you have in Smite and in just going to this event. Granted, if you're like across the world and it's going to cost several $1,000s, it's a big difference from being like, hey, drive there in the distance and stuff like that. So finances is a big one there. But if you're in Atlanta or near Atlanta or whatever and can drive there and you're trying to show your parents, you need to show your parents that this is a hobby of yours, an interest of yours that is worth investing in. And you know, as a parent, and even though my son is not 2 yet, the things that I see that he's interested in, I try to invest myself in and make important for him. So in this situation, you need to even go to your parents and just say, hey, listen, you know, this is my hobby. This is what I'm interested in. And, you know, I want you to support it just like me playing football or soccer. You know, this is a hobby of mine. Support me in it. And here's how you can do it. Now, granted, if it's like, here's how you can do it, I need $5 grand to fly across the world. It's a big difference, especially if you're also like 14. It's also a big difference as well.
You could also hit them up with like facts like how esports is one of the fastest growing industries in the world right now, like easily. Like some of the prize pools that we have, like, or some of these the events, like the bigger esports events, like they gross more money than like movies and music combined.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can just hit them with, just go do some research on esports and, you know, and then just, I would present them with, like, a bullet point argument list and just be like, all right.
With PowerPoints as well.
With PowerPoint, yeah, just do your research, present them the facts, tell them this, it's something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, and then I don't see why any supportive parent wouldn't be like, all right, I'll go with you. Yeah. I want to check this out.
So, great question. It's a really good question. The next question I'm going to have Raffer answer first here is from Ashley. She says, I am new to streaming Smite and wanted to know what advice you can give me to attract a larger viewer audience. Keep up the great work. Love the show. So, Raffer, I would say you're newer to streaming over the past year. What advice do you give to anyone trying to grow their audience?
Well, it depends on what sort of streamer you're going to be. If it's going to be comedy value, then get your face out there. You know, just go on talk shows like this. I'm sure you'd be happy enough to help new streamers. And yeah, just get your face out. Just get to know the community. Get to know everyone on Twitter, Reddit. Not sure about the Reddit, but
yeah, might want to steer through Reddit.
Yeah, and then once you have them viewers in, just connect with them, you know, get similarities with them, speak to them, open up to them. That's why the viewers are there, for you to open up, so they get to know you as much as you get to know them. And if you're a pro player, then
go for it. Sorry.
If you're a pro player, then just keep playing ranked and stream it. You know, you're having fun. It doesn't affect it. You don't have to put your cam on. I mean, it's beneficial if you do, but just keep playing and streaming. That's it. Question answered.
Smitten, what about you? What recommendations do you have from someone who's been streaming Smite for 2 years now, content creator, everything like that? And
okay,
especially
so
it's a female too. It's a female as well.
Yeah, I did I was actually on a board speaking about this at the Game Expo last year during the launch. It was the exposition that was running at the same time as launch.
Okay.
So this is how you grow your audience. Number one, consistency. So I'm really bad at this, and I should really improve at it, but like consistency is key, man. Like if you decide that you can stream at 6 p.m. every single day, stream at 6 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
Stream for a set amount of time so people will know like this is the time that you will be live, and that's the time that they can catch you. Second of all, like Raffer said, reach out to your community. So if you're interested in a certain game like Smite or Smash or Borderlands or anything like that, reach out to that community. Become familiar with the big names in that community. Like try to follow along and like just like connect with people. Be like, hey, I think you're awesome, et cetera, et cetera. There's also like collaborations that you can do with people. So multi-twitching.
We never do that or anything. We never do that.
No, not at all. But like, there's a million different ways that you can grow your channel. But I would definitely say that the number one is consistency and being active and yeah.
Okay, those are great. I think I could agree. I think consistency is one of the big ones. As you start to grow, you'll notice that people like message you on Twitter, kind of like Raffer said. You need to expand, where people can reach you at in different aspects. Communications, is it Twitter, is it Facebook, and other outlets? And people will ask. I know Smite has the same thing. When you get into Smite, I think is the biggest one. When are you streaming next? Is what I get the most when I get into Smite. And if you have a schedule, if you can, I know not everyone can support it, but a schedule is great. List it on your Twitch page. I think it's super important. On top of that, with growing your audience, is you need to have a product that is worth watching. So if someone tunes into your stream and the quality is terrible, no one's going to stay for that, regardless of how good you are of a player or how great of an entertainment it is. So work with someone. If you guys have questions, feel free to message me privately. I help out tons of people within the community to get their streams set up and acclimated for their hardware versus their internet speeds. Now, granted, not everyone can stream. Keep that in mind. Your hardware sometimes can't support it, or your internet upload can't support it. On top of that, you need to have a niche. And what I mean by that is, if you're not a Lyric or you're not a Duck Sauce or a Tally out there, you can't just stream a different game every day and expect to have the same audience coming back. Smitten, can vouch for this as well. Smite is kind of our niche. Smitten and I both, we play Smite, we stream Smite, and so people come. I know people come to enjoy your content around a certain game. Doesn't have to be Smite. It could be anything. It's CS:GO, for example. I was playing the other day. But make that your niche. Once you become successful enough, you could be like a Lyric and anything you play. You can play tic-tac-toe and Lyric has 10K plus viewers because he has that audience behind him. So those are important as well. And then the last recommendation I can have is have a direction. Be a pro player and show at a pro level. Or be an entertainer. I know, Smitten's kind of a nice in between. She's really good at the game. She plays ranked, but she's great entertainment. For me, it's more entertaining and content. For Raffer, it's more pro player aspect. So you need to have your niche, and I think that's super important from there.
I have one last thing to add.
Go for it.
And this is something that I think is absolutely crucial, especially to people who are brand new who don't like. Twitch was a little bit easier for me because I already had a YouTube audience going into Twitch, so it was easier for me to launch and be still motivated and have a desire to stream. If you do not have that platform already, know this: you won't have viewers for a while.
Yeah.
It is the climb for reals. You have to just
reals.
keep going and keep going and keep going, and slowly over time you'll start to accumulate a couple of core followers. Adam Mills in chat right now is actually someone who's been there for me since day one of my YouTube. So it's just slowly, it starts to slowly snowball into a larger and larger audience. So just don't give up hope. Just stay consistent and just stay driven.
I have a funny story about that. That's a very good example of just how to branch yourself out. A lot of people come to Twitch from YouTube or vice versa. Like they do Twitch, then they go into YouTube, so their viewership follows them. A good example, actually, Dry Bear has not always been in the scene. Smitten and I were in the scene well before Dry Bear, but a good example was that Dry Bear had, I think you said about 6K followers on, 6 to 8K followers on YouTube, and subscribers, sorry, and he decided to one day come to Twitch. and he came on Twitch and had 600 viewers the first day he started streaming. And that is completely against the norm. Like, that is not how it works. If you're a normal,
That's not how it works.
If you
No,
go
not
ahead
at all.
and if you go ahead and turn up Twitch for the first day and you start to play it, well, the reason was because he had another source of viewership, and that was YouTube. So he promoted himself
Even
on YouTube, and it moved over. And then he took YouTube and his Twitch audience, then add in his commentating within HiRez. So it's a third aspect for gaining audience. And now the guy's up near like 40,000 to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. Has a great Twitch audience. So just an idea of how you can interconnect the different social media out there.
Yeah. Even if you're Naked Julia, you're not going to pull off 600 viewers on the first day.
Was that her name? Was that her name, or you just...
No, Naked Julia. That was that. Remember that bot that was like hassling us, like on like Smite game and like individual
Oh, that's
streams all
right.
the time?
That's right. That's right.
You would get above like a certain number of viewers, and she would come in and start like posting links.
Yeah, I thought you were referring to that girl that streamed like topless on Twitch that one time, like a few weeks back or whatever, and had like an absurd amount of viewers. So I thought that's what you were talking about. So let's go ahead and move into a section which I think Raffer is going to be a little bit more influential about this. It'll be our esports section here. Before we do, I want to remind you guys, if you guys are looking for sources of tournament play, let's say that you are just starting to come up in the scene. Hey, I want to play some tournaments. What's available out there? You can't really get into any high-res stuff right now with just the route to the World Championship. Two websites to recommend. Smite Central, which they actually have a tournament going on right now. If you guys want to check that out, twitch.tv/Smite Central. And then also Tier Monster's website, tiermonster.com. Go ahead and check them out. They're great sources for jumping in some streams that are available. And you know, you want to stream and you want to play in these tournaments. You know, they're a great outlet. If you're like, hey, I want to play in tournaments. You know, I'm really high in rank, but now I want to play. These are your outlets. So check it out. SmiteCentral.com and TierMonster.com. So let's go ahead and talk about the NA Regional Championship, which did go on today if you guys were living under a rock here. And so let's just talk about it as a whole before we get into the individual matches, how players played, how teams played. So I'll throw it over to you, Raffer. What were your thoughts on the location, the production value, the setup, everything you saw coming through the Twitch setup? What were your thoughts on that?
It's gonna sound really bad now, right? Because I only watched 2 games today.
Oh man,
And
even Smitten and I watched more. We're not even pro players.
I was busy, dude.
You're not allowed to have a real life. Come on now, don't you remember?
I mean,
Smite isn't your life?
no.
There's a life outside of Smite? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've lost LAN, I'm concentrating on RL stuff now.
Oh, there you go. So from what you saw, give us your feedback. Production, location, setup, the venue, camera angles, whatever. Give it to us. What do you think?
It seemed really good from what I've seen, but I've seen a lot of people complaining in chat saying this production is really bad compared to the EU one. And I obviously didn't watch the EU one because I was playing in it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I only had good feedback. I only had bad feedback, but from what I seen, it was good.
Okay. Okay. Smitten, what about you? Coming from the opposite direction. You and I were on Skype most of the day here watching it a decent amount, and you were getting some other stuff done. What did you think of the overall package that we got today?
I liked it. It was, I don't know, okay. I will always find one thing that just bothers the crap out of me. And it was like, whenever we were at the caster's desk or we were talking to Kelly and DM or whether we were looking at Cret, on the main screen, whenever the gameplay wasn't going on, there was just like that twitching around, that like buzzing of like graphics across the screen.
That static NA regional graphic. That was, yeah, it kept like flickering. Yep.
Yeah, that was just, it was super distracting to me as an ADHD individual, because I was just like trying to pay attention to what they were saying, but like it kept like flashing and moving, and I was like, what the? So yeah, it was still nice though. The venue looked really good.
Yeah, I can see that. So for location for me, I'll bring that up. It was at the Cobb Energy Center where the World Championship will be. It will not be in that room that they had it in. It's a lot smaller of a room. It'll be in the main theater that they've been advertising and pushing the most, which looks amazing. My understanding is it holds about 1,500 people. So that kind of side setup that they had was pretty cool. Going to the launch tournament and then looking at this event, I like the way it was set up. They had it a little bit different regarding the angles and the placement of some of the players and the little boosts off to the side. I thought it was pretty cool. If you guys saw on stream, they actually had the team flags kind of like flying on each side during the ban and picks phase for the live audience. We didn't really see that, but that was cool. I was like, that's pretty neat. Like they made a Team Dignitas one. I really like the intro videos for the teams that Mez did. If you guys caught that, that was pretty sweet. They did that for the EU event, and that was kind of nice for those introductions. Did you see that at all, Raffer, for the EU event?
Yeah, I've seen my own. I loved it. I loved the clip that he put in. I remember doing it. I was like, please put that one in, and he did.
Nice.
Or is awesome. I think it was a double tap hammer on 2 different targets and comboed them.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Mez who did the voices, but
he did,
it's a really good job.
Yeah.
I knew immediately it was Mez.
Everybody could notice. You could. It was weird. His voice kind of had this like raspiness to it, but you could still tell it was him.
Deep and dramatic.
Yeah, it was really good. For production, this was actually something I had a discussion with some other people about, and a lot of people didn't realize that at the EU event it was held at ESL Studios, which is a full-time studio for esports events. The equipment is all the same all the time, and so it went out very well, very much like a business. But if you look on the opposite side of things, the NA event, you have a production staff, that is their full-time job, but that's not what they've been doing for years and years and years. On top of that, these guys also do a lot of other things at HiRez compared to just production. If you've noticed, a lot of HiRez employees do a little bit of everything at their job. And then on top of that, the equipment they're using is not in the exact same place with the exact same settings all the time. They are constantly moving equipment and stuff like that from their studio to there. And then, the venue is different every time. It's not the same exact, just like the ESL studio. So when people are giving HiRez Studios a hard time about production at these NA events, they have to realize that they're not a production studio that is static like ESL is. I'm hoping someday HiRez will be. That'd be awesome if you put it on paper, if they had such a studio that was big enough to support these events, but also the equipment was all the same and everything like that. So something to keep in mind about production. What people hate on them about it is it's a work in progress. Some other cool stuff I like that maybe you guys give some input on. The Weatherman desk I thought was a kind of a cool idea. That kind of analytical approach afterwards with Kret. The guy is like a plethora of knowledge. Like, it's unbelievable. Did you guys like the Weatherman type of style, or did not really, or what were your thoughts on that?
I think that was perfect for Kret. I really do, because Kret is very much just like, here it is. You know what I mean? Like, he's very calculated, and so I think that whole approach was perfect for him because he got to just be like, all right, here's all the action. You know what I mean? I loved it.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. The other thing I really liked was the fact that they had 2 different spectators this time, and they were flipping between the camera views. So if you notice, all of a sudden, as a play was occurring, it was a standard spectator, but then they had another spectator going, and they would flip to that view, and it would kind of be like a side view of the battle going on, and the camera was down low, and you were getting a side view of it going on. So it was pretty sweet, to say the least. So I really liked that. It was the first time I saw that. I didn't see that at ESL at all. So that was kind of fun. So let's talk about the event overall, the teams that were there and kind of some of the surprises and upsets and stuff like that. So you had Cognitive Red, Cognitive Prime, Complexity, Team Dignitas, Fat Chunks, and the Rambozos. And so pretty stacked lineup there with 2 of the Cog Red teams, Complexity, Team Dignitas, and then the teams that pretty much went from the bottom of the barrel and made their way up, Fat Chunks and Rambozos. And so let's take kind of discuss a little bit here as to what we saw with our brackets. So Saturday, we saw Team Dignitas versus Fat Chunks. Did any of you guys get a chance to watch that at all, or no?
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Because I was actually kind of surprised that how well Fat Chunks did versus Team Dignitas.
Yeah, they definitely held up their own, but Dig was just on fire Saturday. They were just hungry. Excuse me.
Yeah, I had Raffer. Did you get a chance? Were these one of the 2 games that you got to watch, or no?
I seen the Dig one, and I thought they played really well. I think both teams were showing a bit of sloppiness. To be honest, I seen a lot of mistakes from both ends, and I think that's why Cog Red capitalized on it in the game.
Yeah, and that second series there on today, the one with Team Dignitas versus Fat Chunks was quite interesting because I think Fat Chunks blew everyone out of the water as to how well they performed in the games. I don't think anyone was expecting Fat Chunks to do so well versus Team Dignitas. One being a dominant land team, and two, the fact that Fat Chunks did not do the greatest making their way to this event. Yeah, they just scooted by, but this is the first time we actually got to see them from the Challengers Cup team, up against like a team like Team Dignitas, one of the top few SPL teams. So that was a great series. Team Dignitas went 2-0. Bottom of the bracket, Complexity versus Rambozos. This was probably my favorite series to watch. Complexity did go 2-0, but the Rambozos were neck and neck like almost the entire time versus Complexity. Smith, did you see this series at all?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw a little. I think I saw a couple. I think I saw the first game. I don't remember the second game though.
Yeah, they were great games. I have to give props to Rambozos. I mean, just being bottom seeded 6th, they did exceptionally well versus Complexity, previously known as Snipe, and I was not expecting. There were some points when I thought that Rambozos was going to pull out a win here and possibly do a 2-1 in the best of 3 series. But that was probably my favorite series. If I was to pick one series from the entire event, it would have to be this series. Complexity was seeded 3rd, Rambozos seeded 6th. And, I have to give props to Rambozos. So moving on today was a lot of fun. Went a lot longer than any of us anticipated. The Cog Red versus Team Dignitas series. Let's get your thoughts on that. Raffer, you watched a little bit of it. What were your thoughts on just how well Cognitive Red did versus Team Dignitas? Were you expecting Team Dignitas to do so poorly?
Yeah, I expected it. I knew Cog Red they were going to come prepared. They always do, and I knew it, dude. It was a bit obvious to me. I know there's a lot of Dig fans out there, but yeah.
Smitten, what about you? What were your thoughts on this series?
I love the Dig boys. I always have. But like they were talking about, like the analysts were talking about before the game about how like emotional Dignitas is as a team, and like, I really agree with that. They're very emotional. Like they've got a serious like pregame ritual. So like I wasn't surprised that Kagar won, but I was kind of sad. At this, I love both the teams, but I knew, like, the logical side of my brain was like, Kagar is gonna win. That's fine, and it is fine. But like, a part of me was just like, Dig. I wanted to, like, I had a dream about the regional championship.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I had a dream about this championship, and it was the two teams that went to Worlds was Dig and Kagar in my dream, but sadly, not a thing.
So if you guys had a chance to watch the first series with Team Dignitas versus Fat Chunks, the momentum that they had, and I feel like mentally what they were thinking after that series must have been, they were on fire. That is what you want from a team going into semifinals, was a team that is pumped, ready to go. They went 2-0. You saw Lassus pushing against 3-1 combinations. Some things went great. Some things did not go so well. We saw sometimes in a 3-1 combination, his team was directly behind him to support him, so he was able to go ahead and overcommit in those ways. But then the worst, and I know, Raffer, you have to understand this, is seeing a jungler committing in a 3-1 combination, but the team backs off. And then you're just stuck by yourself and you're caught out. Because the best is when you see, and I think that's what puts Cognitive Red and Cognitive Prime up at the top, is if you watch those games, you didn't see junglers or anyone, even ADCs, overcommitting and the team being way behind or not even near them. It was always, their team always cruised around as a huge pack and did very well. There was a lot of communication, a lot of support there. But if you noticed, as I was saying there, Team Dignitas did outstanding in that first series, did very well versus Fat Chunks. In honesty, it was the Lassus and Zapman and the Dignitas that we knew from the launch tournament. If you went to the launch tournament, Smitten did, that amount of hype that team just brings to the room and the plays they do, the overcommitments that just bring out the fans were there in the first series. Team Dignitas did awesome. But the second series, Cognitive Red was not going to let that sloppy play slide. And they punished. They punished this team. Like, you might be able to get away with that versus Fat Chunks, who came from the Challengers Cup. But, like, Cognitive Red just looked at the situation and went, oh, you're playing sloppy? Okay, we're going to maximize on that situation. We're going to shut you down here, here, and here. We're going to deicide you here. And it was rough. It was really rough. Any other comments, though, about that series, Smitten, that you got to watch?
No, they really, I mean, they didn't let anything slide, and that's exactly what they needed to do. And here we are. Sorry, I'm still like I'm a Dig fan until like I'm reeling on the inside, but I'm still so happy for Kagura.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine if like their play style, like their level of play is like vastly higher than anybody in NA. I don't know if we can necessarily compare it to EU, but like they're just vastly superior. And so like, could you imagine being like 14, 15, however old those like midgets are, like, and winning $1.5 million?
I can only dream.
Yeah. Somebody in chat called me out about Fat Chunks. Yes, you're correct. Fat Chunks was in the SPL. They dropped to the wild cards. I was kind of putting the Challengers Cup and wild cards kind of in that same category. So thank you for calling me out on it. I don't want to use the wrong terminology there. You're correct. They did go to wild cards, kind of putting that together with Challengers Cup play. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. You know, you talk about Dignitas. Dignitas is always a team that comes up, and they're a fan favorite. Not for any individual reason except for the way they connect with their fans and their personalities. They're pretty much one of the only teams in the scene that does it as well as they do. Their personalities are so attractive that they grow their fans, you know, that viewership so much. So, you know, it's a shame that they're out here and not going to Worlds, but it's always so much fun to watch them play. So, talking about the bottom part of the bracket, we had Cognitive Prime versus Complexity. Did anyone get a chance to watch this series?
Yes.
All right, give us the rundown. What did you think?
I was so upset that Complexity dropped it in that game, in the very last game that they had. They could have put up a fight. You know what I mean? Like, they had such a strong lead, and then all of a sudden it was just like, they almost didn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? And so they just kind of like Prime do their whole like waiting game strategy, and it works for them every single game. They're like, all right, you know, they may be up on kills and maybe 2K in farm, but you know, we're just gonna do this patiently. We're gonna be patient and then wait for the perfect play. It's just they do that every single time, and I was just I wanted to see a stronger fight out of Complexity.
Radford, did you see the series at all or no?
No, I missed that one, I'm afraid.
Were you surprised at the outcome of Prime versus Complexity just from what you know about these players, or did you expect Prime to win?
I expected it, dude.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it sounded like a closer game than the Dig and the Cog Red, but I expected that outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it was... Okay, so if you guys didn't have a chance to watch this, you know, going into this, everybody kind of had their eyes on Cognitive Prime. It was very easy to, just for their track record and how well they did in the SPL. And then you saw Complexity with a recent sponsorship pickup there, which was super exciting for them. It's always great to see a team, especially Snipe, who everyone thought there would be like a pickup at launch, has now finally gotten a pickup here. And Complexity came to play. And this was a great series to watch. If there were two series, it would be Complexity versus Rambozos, Cognitive Prime versus Complexity there. It was great to watch because it was the only one that was actually like a 3-1 series. The rest, everything was just like 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, which kind of sucked. It didn't really make it as entertaining as it could be, whereas it was a lot...
like the EU games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the EU regionals were incredible. I was on the edge of my seat, like, yelling. But, like, NA, it was just, like, just bulldozed. Bulldozer, just all the way through these games. And I was just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's always a shame when you see, like, just, like the series that was Cognitive Red versus Team Dignitas. You watch that series, and you're like, okay, the better team is definitely winning right now and doing well, and the other team is just getting rolled. And so, but in this series, the Prime versus Complexity, it was great to see a 1-1 setup at one point. So it was great to see that in Complexity. I mean, I think they did really well. I think they did really well. It was really enjoyable to come watch them play. They were the team that I was actually cheering for in this series. I was hoping to not see a COG versus COG grand finals. But all said and done, you know, Cognitive Prime did come out 3-1. And we ended up seeing Cognitive Red versus Cognitive Prime in the grand finals. So let's talk about the grand finals. What were your thoughts on that? Smitten, what do you got?
I love first the grouping that they had
Mhm.
in the very like before the match even started, like all of them just grouped up in middle lane. I thought that was really cool. But it looked like it could have been either team's game until I remembered it was Cog Red. So
if you guys aren't familiar, Cognitive Red did very well in the first series. The second series, though, or the second game, though, was super cool to watch. It was interesting because most of the time, if you look at the statistics, a team that goes and wins the first game usually ends up doing extremely well and taking it a best of 3. Well, that wasn't the case here, and a lot of these teams play with emotion, and where if you lose like that in the first game, it's very hard to come back. I think Raffer, as a pro player, I guess it doesn't really get to you if you lose your first game in your series.
Personally, no.
Okay.
But people were saying my communications went down after the first game. But there was a lot of reasons why we lost that game, and just SK were just on the ball. They were wrecking ball. No way we were stopping that.
Yeah, I reckon. Nice. So
personally, just doesn't affect me.
Okay,
and that's the second game
and that's great because that's what Cognitive Prime did in the second game there. Second game, they didn't let them affect them, and they ended up, winning their second game. And I was expecting a closer game in the third game. Each team kind of had their moments in game 1 and game 2, and then game 3 came along, and we just saw the traditional Cog Red. So, Raffer, I have to ask you, as a pro player, why do you think Cognitive Red is so dominant in the NA scene? Is there one thing or a few things that stand out, or why is it that they have been this powerhouse?
They're so powerful because every single one of their players knows the meta. They go into the game knowing what they're going to do, and they commit to stuff. You'll see all 5 of them commit to a call. You can tell from the game style, and even if they miss abilities, which they never do, they're gonna dominate because every single person goes in for that call, whereas other teams, you find that a lot more people are hesitant and think, this is a bad call, I'm not sure. But if you don't follow the call up, I'm afraid you're going to die anyway, because chances are that the person making the call dies, and then you go in trying to save them, and then you die doing it as well. It's like, why not go in the first place? Or if it's that much of a bad call, then you just need to get out. You just really need to, I can't express how much, you just need to yell, get out now. Disengage.
Do you know who the shot caller is on their team, or do they not have one? Do they just go with it?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure who's the shot caller with Cog Red. Like, I know a few of the members, and I think they all call it, to be honest, in Cog Red. I think every single one of them calls everything. Okay, cool. So it definitely sounds like, it comes down to, you just summed it up. It really comes down to communication on a team. Yeah.
And
Spell synergy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If your communication is spot on, your synergy looks amazing, and I think that's what we see. I was kind of commenting on earlier, and I appreciate you pointing that out. Is like earlier when excuse me, when like a jungler or an ADC seems like they're overcommitting, they have 4 players behind them supporting them so they can duck out without that chase occurring. And I think that is huge, like that synergy communication aspect. And I think that's hard for teams, and a lot of teams struggle with that. Someone makes a call, someone doesn't follow behind on it, or someone makes a call and then there's an argument. And you can't have that in the middle of a game. Like, you really can't. It just needs to flow. And it's really surprising, to be honest with you, and I might get some slack for this, but it's very surprising coming from such young players that the synergy and communication is there. Sometimes as a young player, your ego gets the best of you. And you want one thing, someone else wants another thing, and you want to be right, and it becomes a problem. And it doesn't seem like that with this team, and so that's why
I disagree.
Really? Tell me what you got.
I do. Okay.
Nothing wrong with disagreeing. I like it.
I disagree purely because of what I know about people and what I know about behavior at various stages in your life.
Okay.
Camaraderie in your adolescence is absolutely crucial. So the fact that these 5 boys have banded together and become like easily the top, obviously the top team in NA, like it's not surprising to me. Like, they had the skill to begin with, and like the fact that they synergized so well, it wasn't very surprising at all, because like, they're young enough, they're fresh enough, they're committed enough.
Okay, interesting. I didn't even look at that angle that way. So good point there for sure. So that kind of rounds out what happened today in the NA Regional Championship. Cognitive Red and Cognitive Prime will be going now to Worlds, which I think is super exciting. Good for them. So in the meantime, everyone's asking, well, what else has been going on? We did have I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to watch. They did have some of the Chinese qualifiers going on this past week. That was on. If you guys had a chance to watch that, it was pretty exciting to say the least. It was definitely different. Their meta, as we thought, is completely different. The one team ended up going, where did they go? Ymir, Hercules, and Athena. And it was weird to watch, but as time went on, it was super successful and it was interesting. A lot of their meta, just like we thought when we've talked about this in the past, is very driven by these support and warriors. They play these very conservative roles in regards to roles where you can be super aggressive but also have the protections to support it. For example, like Hercules. We saw a lot of Hercules, not only solo, which is traditional in a meta, but also like Hercules in mid. We saw a lot of different things going on there. We saw some Athenas in jungle, but it was interesting to see those three gods in one game. So the meta was really cool to watch if you guys had an opportunity. Did any of you guys see or watch any of the Chinese games that were going on?
I didn't watch one of them.
Okay. They were...
I just heard about them, and they sounded really troll, like you were saying.
Yeah, like if you were to pull that out in an NA, that wouldn't even happen in NA. That would happen in like EU. If you go back like 6 months to a year, everyone would talk about how the EU meta was the meta that kind of was different and unique. For example, when you saw Zalia playing Ymir at launch tournament and stuff like that, like that meta, EU constantly developed. EU was the scene that would try things differently and be very non-traditional and pull out these wacky style setups. But the Chinese scene is quite unique, and so if you guys don't have a chance, try to catch it. It's kind of hard to get because you're not seeing it streamed on Twitch or anything like that. But there's a few outlets out there that are available to check those out if you guys do have time, which are pretty sweet. So I don't think we're going to take a break today like we usually do for time purposes. As I said, it's going to be a shorter show, but I just wanted to kind of get Smitten your thoughts and Raffer your thoughts on the last patch that came out. So Raffer, I'll throw it to you first. What are your thoughts on the last patch? We had Al Quang was introduced. On top of that, we did have the Refer a Friend program in the last patch. We also had the match rating where at the end of your game, the server report would come up or how you thought the matchmaking was. On top of that, we did have a few god changes here and there as well. So what were your thoughts, Raffer? What were your thoughts on that last patch that just came out?
I mean, I've not actually been through the patch notes, but from what you've said, I have seen the server rating, and I think that's a really, really good idea. So they can pick out the weaker servers and fix them. So that's good. There's also the matchmaking review at the end. That's I don't know how to comment on that. I'm not sure if that's going to be beneficial or not. It depends what HiRez does with it. Al Quang's broken, as every other god that's released. Yeah, so that's all I can say about him. And do you say there was another?
There were quite a few changes in there. Some of the bigger ones were, for example, Cupid. The ultimate time was taken from 0.5 to 0.3. Kronos, a lot of changes made to his mana to allow him to be a little bit more sustainable in mid. Nuwa did go ahead and have her fire shards and shining metal decreased. So those were some of the big ones.
Yeah, I hate the Mercury nerf. My god got nerfed. It was needed though, because you could literally go from a free to an auto attack whilst you're in the mid-air and use your 1, so you do about 1.5k damage before they even get out of the free if you got 2 crits. So, and the Kronos changes, I'm gonna try him jungle. I think I will try him jungle because I love that 100% mana reduction on your spells. Because you can use 3 of your spells, you use your 1, your 3, and then your 1 again. And that's really good for a jungler because then you don't need to go Bumba's Mask.
Once you have that slot available. Nice, that's actually an interesting approach.
Go Vamp Shroud that, and I can't remember the other changes unfortunately, but I like this patch, it's good.
Okay. Okay, Smitten, I'll throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on some of the changes that we had? We did go through the whole patch, guys, by the way, the last show, but we're just kind of a highlight as to our thoughts on what we experienced.
Kwong's broken.
Okay, everyone keeps saying that. Everyone keeps saying that. What is broken about him that you feel?
He can nuke someone and then ultimate out, and he's safe.
Yep.
That's it.
He's just broken. He's actually really broken, and that's you could sum up the entire patch just by saying Kwong's broken.
Yep.
Because all the other changes, like, they were minor. Like, everyone, like, all the, like, Cupid mains out there, all 4 of you are like, oh, Cupid's change is huge, or all the Nuance mains out there like, oh, that's huge. No, like these are minor changes compared to some of the patches we've seen before. So really, just by saying Kwong is grossly broken is how you sum up this little stream of epicness.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm to look at it, I didn't play in the PTS, so last show I wasn't really able to give a lot of feedback in it. Smitten was. With playing it, his kit is like crazy, like insane, because you can. First off, his attack speed, his base attack speed is like way too high. I feel like that needs to be turned down. Like, it's insane coming out right. Even once you're at like level 3, it's ridiculous. On top of that,
his base attack speed is just that's.
Like, I leave the fountain and I'm just like auto attacking and it's just like swing, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous.
Granted, it does do like a tiny bit of damage. Yeah. It's still like it's fast. It's.
Yeah, the other thing about his kit too is like he's able to take his Dragon Call and the Wild Storm and take both those abilities and just like spam them and then pop Water Illusion if he's getting like a little bit into it too much. Run around, like just cruise around for a few seconds and then just like spam it again. Like, it allows you to overcommit very much like an assassin in that way. It's interesting, his ultimate, like you talked about. He can commit into a fight hardcore, uses 2 and 3 in auto attack to get you down super low, then pop that King of Eastern Seas for the ultimate, and do that whole dragon effect, kill you, and then just escape, which at distance is insane. It's like even farther than Thor, which I think is nuts. On top of that, I've seen people actually initiating with that, like going in on someone, like an ADC, popping King of Eastern Seas, and then in the meantime, popping the 2, and then by the time the person hits the ground, they pop their 3, and then auto attack, and you're dead. Like, because of how much damage is done with the combination. So I think his entire kit needs a decrease in damage, and the base attack speed needs to be nerfed, if I'm honest with you. The referral friend, friend referral thing, I haven't really dabbled into. As I said last show, I don't like the skin. I think the skin's kind of dumb with the sock puppet thing. It's just me.
I was wondering how I got that skin. I was like, how have I got this tear skin? And I asked my chat and no one answered me. I guess it was part of the Odyssey, but okay, that's my question answered.
Yeah, it's through the refer a friend system, actually. But I thought it wasn't prorated, so how the heck did you get it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because it looks like if you have 3 friends, let's see here, milestones, the rewards are granted to referring players as each player. Oh, if you have 3 friends that reach level 15. Through that referral system, you can get the socket puppeteer skin. That's one of the options that are available. So, okay, that's how you got it. The match ratings, I actually haven't seen any of those options for what I thought on the server report or on the matchmaking system. I didn't get any of that. Granted, I played a lot of custom games, so that might not be in it. By the way, crazy bug that occurs in custom games. In Assault, if you do a custom Assault, that in Arena, I have seen one of my players on my team be on a 3rd team. So there's 2 teams. My team only ends up with 4 people. And then, for example, the one game was a Scylla in Arena. Scylla was on her own team, spawning in my fountain, and was getting killed by the fountain. Or if she got out into the arena, she was an enemy to everyone. So it was like absurd. And the crazy thing was, in the one game, it was the fountain early game was killing that Scylla so much, but for some reason, one of our players was always nearby and getting the kills. So the player was like 40-1 by the end of the game because he just kept on getting these kills. So it was absurd. I have 2 VODs, and every one I've like said to Hi-Rez Chris and be like, I don't think this is normal. So it was a custom assault and a custom arena. So you never had that?
What if HiRez is implementing a thing secretly to allow 3 teams to a match instead of just 2?
I don't know. Maybe
that's the way that I can have my 40v40 Smite matches.
you could. Or it's very much like that one person could be like super crazy stats and be super strong, and it makes like this third objective where you have to kill this person that's like almost like a boss type of style. So I don't know, but it was crazy to experience.
Rapper's like, no, you guys are all a bunch
You guys
of
are
scrubs.
stupid. Just play ranked conquest.
I know, look at his face.
So some other things to talk about. The Cupid change, I didn't experience much of that. I actually didn't even see more Cupid this week at all. I was actually expecting to see.
Of course you wouldn't. Cupid still sucks. He still
Also,
sucks.
Cupid's changes were kind of outshined by Ao Kwang and being OP. I didn't see any more Chronos either than what I expected to. Granted, I played more custom.
I play him jungle. I love him jungle, dude. I just absolutely love that buff.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
How about Nuwa? Did you guys see really a big change with the Fire Shard and Shining Metal? Because
she still does damage, dude.
Not really, but
yeah.
I found something new out earlier with the tournament that Osiris is free, sticks to Nuwa when she's in the air, and that's broken.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good counter to her.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys see the Nuwa play today? I forget who was playing Nuwa. It was with the minion or with the clay soldiers, and it was like a 3-1 gank on this Nuwa, and the Nuwa, I think it was on Thanatos, actually was able to get a stun off on all 3 of them using the soldiers, and it was like ridiculous in that series. I think it was very early on. Maybe it might. I think it was very early on. Maybe it was Saturday. It was still super sick to see. Let's see. Anything else you guys want to talk about the patch, or do we all just agree that Ao Kwang was overpowered and needs to be nerfed? Anything else you guys can think about?
Nerf incoming.
Okay.
He's nerfed. I hate him. I still prefer him before, but he's broken.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's probably gonna round out our show, to be honest with you guys. Nice and quick. Not the normal length. We appreciate Rapper coming on. We were supposed to have Hindu, then Hindu was a little too late. Hindu man, so Rapper came on, and Fdot, as I said, wasn't available. He's in Atlanta right now doing his thing. So if you guys enjoyed the show, usually the show is on Smite Game, but the rebroadcast are running this week and last week. So our plans are hopefully to be back on Smite Game next week, as long as there's not another rebroadcast going on. So if you guys did enjoy the show, don't forget to go on twitch.tv/SmiteGame. Go directly below the video screen. There's a feedback button. Click the feedback button, select Octane Pro, and let HiRez know what you think about the Smite update. That feedback goes directly to HiRez, and then they come to me and tell me what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and they allow us to stay on the channel. So I appreciate you guys giving us that feedback. Before we head out of here, we want to let you guys know, if you guys enjoyed the show but didn't catch the entire thing, the VOD is available on YouTube, youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate. And same thing on Twitter. If you guys have been following along with the show on Twitter, there are gems given away from the mod Lance, actually, in our chat. Throughout the entire show, gems are given away on our Twitter. So if you guys didn't get any this time, try it next time. Twitter.com/TheSmiteUpdate. And also, don't forget, the show is available on iTunes. So if you guys want something to listen to on the train, on the way to work, or when you're at work, and can listen to the audio-only version, check it out. It's on iTunes, and it's on Android platforms. So before we head out of here, Raffer, where can people check you out? What would you like to plug? Anything like that? Go for it.
Twitter.com/iRaffer and twitch.tv/iRaffer. That's for my stream. I will be streaming tomorrow morning, and I have a schedule of Monday to Friday, sometimes on the weekends, usually 9 till 5, but I'll be doing 24-hour streams from the 8th of December when I get my new internet, which I really look forward to.
Okay, sweet. Well, good deal. And then, Smitten, what about you? Where can people check out your content?
YouTube.com/GangFirstGaming for epic videos, Twitch.tv/Smitten for epic streaming, Twitter at SmittenGFD for epic tweets, and Facebook.com/GangFirstGaming for epic Facebook posts.
Excellent. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and round out the show here. If you guys do have some free time, I know Smitten most likely has to head out, and Raffer does need to head out if you guys need to. But Fdot is actually going to call in via telephone here in the next few minutes. So we're going to hang out for just a few minutes here. And he's going to give us kind of his thoughts on the event, feedback, stuff like that, that we did go over there. So kind of different part of the end of the show here. I just got word from him. So I will hang around and see if he does call in. While we have some time here in the meantime, special thanks for Hi-Rez Studios for allowing our show to be on their channel most of Sundays. And that's twitch.tv/SmiteGame. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, feel free to give us comments and reviews in the VOD. I would appreciate it. So I'm going to hang out here, see if Fdot does go ahead and call in. Smitten, you have to head out. Am I correct?
Yes,
All
I
right.
have an 8-page paper that's due on Tuesday
Oh.
that I haven't started.
Okay. Well, best of luck with that now that you have less than 2 days to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. And Raffer, do you have to head out? Are you going to hang in there? What are you going to do?
I need sleep, dude. I had 4 hours sleep last night, and I've been awake, I don't know, plenty of hours. So I'll be going to sleep, but as I said, I'll be on at 9 AM tomorrow, UK time, on my stream, playing ranked as a jungler.
Excellent. Yeah, feel free to put your links in chat, by the way. You can go ahead and freely put them in. You don't need any promotion or anything like that. My mods are good enough to cut people down pretty quickly. So Raffer and Smitten, I appreciate you guys coming on. Guys, I am going to hang out on stream, and we will go ahead and hang out, and I'll talk to Fdot when he calls in here in just a minute. So Smitten and Raffer, I will go ahead and mute you and take you off stream. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. I do appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Alrighty, so they are taking them off stream now. And gonna duck them out real quick here. And in the meantime, we do have Fdot going ahead and calling in here. So we'll see once he gets connected. It looks like he is self-muted right now. We'll wait to see once he gets on. And Fdot will be joining us to give us his kind of feedback and thoughts on the event, how everything went. So he is getting connected now, so we'll give him a minute. I wonder if he's connecting through like a laptop or something compared to his phone. We'll have to go ahead and see. Those of you guys also, if you guys aren't familiar, it looks like Tom. Tom, you there?
Yo,
what's up, man?
not too much, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going good. We just kind of rounded out the show a little bit. Smitten and I, Raffer, needed to head out. Raffer was filling in for Hindu, who was filling in for you. But we do have a few hundred people hanging out in chat right now. So you want to talk a little bit about what went on this weekend?
Absolute craziness, man. Well, why did Raffer and Smitten leave?
One Smitten has to do an 8-page paper that she hasn't started yet, and Raffer EU man says he has to get sleep. All excuses is all I hear.
Yeah, pretty much. For Raffer, Raffer's in the UK, which is +5, which means it's exactly 1 in the morning. I stay up. That's all I'm saying. And Smitten, I know she's still listening. She needs to just get on the ball. But anyway, I'm delighted to be Kane Broski. Hey, how was your weekend?
Dude, my weekend was great. I literally spent my entire weekend in my basement here where I'm set up watching your beautiful face. Can I say, I think you were the only one that had a actually nicely pressed tie with a tie pin, by the way. No one else looked as good as you.
Well, I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's my game. That's my game. So I appreciate it. I do think everybody looked good, but I mean, yeah, swag.
So, let's talk a little bit about what we saw this weekend. Talk about Saturday, or, let's talk about the venue and everything as a whole. And just, we kind of got a chance to talk about it a little bit. But, what did you think? What did you feel about the setup? It was a little bit different than what we had seen in the past. The weather station, we had the second camera perspective with a second spectator set up there. You kind of had your interview station, stuff like that. What did you think as a whole of the entire event, minus the competition, if we take a look at it?
Oh, word. Well, I mean, as far as everything is concerned with how the production went, it was fantastic. It was in the same spot that the kickoff LAN happened, actually. So, excuse me. So we got to see a lot of sort of the same stuff that you would sort of, I guess, expect from that space. Same amount of people, but we did get a lot of cool cool new features in the way. All right, so the original cog right there, and specifically player.
Thank you for sharing that with the stream.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, no, the production definitely stepped it up a bit. We had the same crew that's been doing things since the launch tournament.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic, Octane. They really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely something. I mean, I even gave shout outs to them earlier today. Just, a lot of those guys, Brad, Josh, Peckies, Adonis, Moggs, all of those people that were involved, Pon, all those people that were involved with it. It was interesting because we actually talked about this earlier on the show and how there was a lot of hate towards production this time and stuff like that. And we talked about it as a whole, and I reminded people, like, they were comparing it to ESL, and I let them know, ESL, full-time production studio. That's all they do full-time. Their gear is all in the same place, the same exact people all the time. They know they're set up inside and out. HiRez Studios, pretty much a production cast on the go that's constantly moving from the different venues, isn't set up full-time, doesn't have that opportunity. There are going to be slip-ups here and there, No,
I mean, they like hire production staff that does everything. It's outside for everybody that is actually as I read some of the Reddit. We were actually kind of laughing about it. Good. Dude, Adonis is the man, but Adonis does not run the entire production of a live event.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's done by like a professional staff that knows really what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's live TV, man.
Yeah.
It's live TV, but it was fantastic. The director and everybody involved was great. But it really was about the equipment, like you said. They had the weather station, which was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
We were out with the interviews. I got to go because they had like fancy cameras. I got to go into the stands and really just feel the pulse of the crowd. Do my best Doris Burke impersonation. It was fantastic. It was so cool. It was and I mean that's not even mentioning the games.
Yeah. Oh my word. So we can transition into games a little bit. So let's talk a little bit here about day one. We discussed it as a whole. Smitten actually had an opportunity to watch a decent amount of the games. iRaptor did not. Unfortunately, I kind of called him out on that a little bit. But let's talk about real quick. Team Thanatos versus Fat Chunks. I gave huge props to Fat Chunks and how well they played and actually surprised me. Even though they went 0-2, I thought the series was still an incredible series. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, Cyclone Spin is just incredible. That's sort of what I was thinking about prior. Mm-hmm. Just Cyclone Spin really knows what he's doing, and it's really impressive to watch that sort of happened. So. All right, Cret just walked in. I actually locked him out because I was naked. So.
I guess that's exceptional.
Yeah, no, the games were incredible. It was a lot of fun to watch. And, yeah, Cyclone Spin really played his face off, which is what we got to see out of Fat Chunks.
Yeah.
And Dignitas wound up just, doing Dignitas things to really win those games. I had actually called it Dignitas 2-1. I thought Fat Chunks was actually going to be able to take a game off of them.
Yeah.
They weren't able to. They got 2-0'd. But it was still fun to watch.
Yeah. Another series here, which was my favorite series to watch the entire time there, was actually Complexity versus the Rambozos. I thought this was very close to Cog Prime versus Complexity. Just Rambozos, like, wow. I was very surprised. Granted, they didn't win anything. They didn't win any sets of that series. But regardless, I thought they played exceptionally well, especially for such a young team versus Complexity. What were your thoughts on that series?
I mean, so LAN, you've been to the launch tournament, Octane, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the feeling of that LAN? Like, if you could explain in one sentence, like, what is that world of LAN?
To me, the LAN is, from my perspective, it's just a pure adrenaline rush. Like, it's just adrenaline. The entire time, even as a spectator, it's full adrenaline, straight out.
Dude, and that's exactly, what Rambozos were. Rambozos have always been an SPL light team in the sense that they sort of play like a professional Smite team. They just didn't really have everything. And when you have adrenaline running, sometimes things just work out. And I don't know. Rambozos didn't disappoint. I think they did their job.
Yeah.
They played all right. And at the end of the day, Complexity is a very, very strong team. And we saw that in the next round against Cog Prime.
Yeah, exactly. And That was actually an exciting one to watch. The fact that we did see both teams take a game off of each other and then take us into the last two games there. I was impressed. Complexity, I mean, they had some big opportunities. They definitely, I mean, I honestly was cheering with that whole underdog type of mentality for Complexity versus Cognitive Prime. I was hoping to see a Cognitive Red versus Complexity in the grand finals, but I think a lot of us knew that Cognitive Prime was going to be successful versus them going into it. Who did you have for Prime versus Complexity?
I actually had Complexity. I had Complexity going through. Yeah, I really thought Complexity had what it took. I think that I've spent the entire season telling people why Kiki Star, or what is it? Why he's bad.
Yep.
Okay? I've spent my entire season doing that both on this show and other shows, and he came out to play, man. He really did. And at the end of the day, I always, always have faith in Incon and Weekend and Allied on land. It's scary. So one of the things I mentioned on one of the pre-games is that they got stomped in the first game. So they're like 27-3. It was abysmal. And when they came back the second game, they made the appropriate adjustments and won. And that's what I see when I look at a match. Like, I look at wins and losses, of course, but there's more beyond this. Worlds will happen in January, and a Season 2 will inevitably come. When I see Complexity, I see how they win and how they lose, and that's what I took out of it. I took out of the fact that they came to play and make adjustments. They did that. Ultimately, they couldn't find the victory to go to Worlds, but that's what I looked at, really, when I looked at that matchup.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. That was, as I said, I mean, I'm not even looking at the grand finals, just looking at, Complexity versus Rambozos, Complexity versus Cognitive Prime. They were definitely games to watch. So jumping into the grand finals here, Cog versus Cog. This was something that we talked about as a scene for a while. The chance to see 3 Cog teams going to Worlds, and we had it here. We saw Cognitive Red, Cognitive Prime. They made it into the grand finals there. Game 1 ended up, going Cognitive Red quite substantially. Game 2, Cognitive Prime. They looked great. Very surprising to see their momentum kick back in, especially after losing Game 1. But then we went to Game 3, and we saw Cognitive Red coming out in the way that they always do. Were you surprised at the results? Were you expecting this? What were your thoughts on the grand finals?
Real talk, Cog Red looked really weak in the private scrims. Oh, no. What do you... Goodness, someone...
You good?
I don't know.
You good?
Hotel phones are... Oh, I'm fine now.
Okay.
But anyway, Cog Red, they looked really weak. And they came to the actual show, and it was a completely different world. It was... Man, it just surprised me. I didn't expect them going into that. And after seeing how they performed at the rest of the LAN, it was kind of different. And I had expected Cog Prime to do well. And after I saw Cog Red take care of business with Dignitas.
Oh, my word. That's one way to put it. Mopping the floor, taking care of business. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. Without a doubt. So, I mean, after the performance they had in the semifinals against Dignitas, I would be remiss if I called anybody but Cog Red.
Yeah. So, the event kind of came to a close there. Overall thoughts on the entire thing? You were down there for quite a bit there. You've been to a variety of these events now, actually under your belt. What was your overall feeling after this? Because the big thing is, there's only 2 teams moving on. The rest of these guys are going home, most likely roster changes, possible team drops, everything, So overall, what was your feeling? And what did it seem like the general consensus was with players, coaches, everything as the event came to a close?
I mean, my feeling was, dude, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I don't lose, though.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true.
I just talked to everybody. But, something that I saw, there were 1 or 2 players that were very, very down on themselves.
Yep.
And definitely emotions were running high. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of, well, that sucked. We know what to do better.
Yeah.
Worlds is in January, and Season 2 starts soon after.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. I talked to the Complexity guy specifically, and, when when you're talking to those guys after a loss, like I generally keep my distance right after.
Yeah,
And
good
like
call.
I have work to do anyway. I do my stuff, and then we're all friends here. The Smite community is freaking fantastic with that. And just go up. Incon's my guy, so just go up to Incon and be like, hey man, like, how you doing? He's just like, honestly, fine. Didn't really think we lost. We should have lost. That sucks. I'm disappointed, but I have notes to work on for the future, and everybody's just looking towards the next page. There's a lot of uplifting thoughts out there. There's a lot of positivity, and like I said, there are some people that are disappointed and upset, but at the end of the day, the general barometer on average is this event is sweet, this is cool, and I can't wait till next time, especially among the newer teams. You have Fat Chunks and Bozos who got knocked out yesterday. They showed up today. They had a great time. I remember speaking to Unique, Uknik, and Herwind, and Auror, and we were just, this is awesome. I love this. It's so much fun. It sucks that we lost. Gonna work hard. That was the general feel, which I didn't really expect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because from a viewer at home, and unfortunately, Smite Game Chat, and what you see from it, that a lot of these guys will be pushing forward for next season. Like, their question is now, okay, like, for example, Rafford, for example, we just had on, we were talking with him, and he's like, I'm playing ranked right now, I'm streaming every day, I'm pushing forward, looking forward to next season. But then you have other people out there that are like, oh, I'm taking a break, or I don't know if I'm going to move forward, or I'm going to move forward with real life plans, stuff like that, and I think, we'll see a decent amount of people drop out, players that we'll say goodbye to, teams that will disband, teams that will replace people. But I think we'll have a decent amount of people. We are moving on to Season 2. This is the first opportunity that we can say, like, Smite has passed its first season, and people are already excited about it. I mean, Worlds is right around the corner. I was just looking at my calendar. Like, we'll be down in Atlanta within a few weeks here. I know you, of course, will be as well. And then after Worlds, the big question will be, well, what's next? And we'll be waiting for Hi-Rez's announcement as to the start of Season 2, I think is the big one. I know you know some of those details. I'm not going to ask you about it. But, just with that, we're moving forward, Season 2. I know you're hyped about it. I know you're excited about it. I think it'll be great.
Oh, man, it's going to be incredible. All I know is that launch tournament was at the center stage, which was a nice place.
Yeah.
The Cobb Energy Center is nicer. It's literally where the Walking Dead finale was filmed. The kickoff LAN and the finale and the championship, the regional championships that we just did, are at the same spot. And on the other side is where we're going to have Worlds. All I know is that we see a trend of getting bigger and better each damn time. So I don't know what's in store for Season 2, but I'm excited for Season 2. And Season 3, and Season 4. And I just can't wait for it all to come together.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, if you guys remember, and I know you've probably seen it, we saw it was like a picture of League of Legends, and it showed like Season 1, what the crowd looked like. Season 2, what the crowd looked like. Season 3, Season 4. I'm really excited to see what the Worlds looks like for Season 2 of Smite, and then 3, and then 4, and to see where our growth is at. Because if we look at it, our growth's pretty dang big. If we're now at our first season coming to a close, not including launch tournament, looking at it, our crowd's even bigger than what League of Legends looks like it was. So I'm really excited to see, not to say we're side by side going to compete with that right now, but I'm really excited to see what we look like 4 years down the road and the growth, as you said, within the esports scene for sure. So rounding things out, any last comments that you can make here, Fdot, with just your experience there? How about you? I forgot to comment. How about you being Mr. Host with the interviews and everything? Kudos to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool to try new things.
Yeah.
I think I did swell. Of course, there are always things I could personally work on, but I generally think that it went okay. I'm sure I'll get crucified on Reddit for saying blue instead of red, but it is what it is. Fun. We I don't know. It was very short notice that I would be working, and when I found out I'd be working, it was originally like one interview, then it was moved to two, then it was moved to after each match, and then I got to host a pregame desk, and that was fun. Got to boss around Dean Brandon. I'm just kidding. It was really fun. Don't get me wrong. I love my commentary, but it was definitely fun trying something new. I think the team came together and really put together a nice product. So as far as like what I personally did, it was interesting, it was different, and it was fun. I had fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing either that, more stuff in the booth, or whatever comes to my.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just to round things out. I mean, the feeling that people involved in the Smite community that invested in it in one way or another, if it's what Fdot is doing with being down there hosting and commentating, if it's people in production, or if it's Hi-Rez executives, or someone at home like myself as a viewer, you can't take a step away from this event as it comes to a close and not be excited for what's next. Like, it just adds to the hype that we have coming up here in a few weeks. I know a lot of viewers will be going to Worlds, which will be super exciting. I think we can all agree that Hi-Rez did a really good job of putting together another production and another package for us here. It's a great step to go ahead and round things out, as we are going to go ahead and round out the show here. We did have iRaffer and Smitten on, and then just Fdot caught us last minute to give us his perspective, which is great. I think we can all give shout outs to Cognitive Red, Cognitive Prime, Complexity, Team Dignitas, Fat Chunks, and Rambozos. They did an excellent job today. All teams this weekend performed very well. Regardless of the results, I think they all performed very well. So Fdot, before you go, any last comments or things that you'd like to tell us about before you head off and have a few drinks at the bar?
I'm actually heading out to dinner. Thank you, responsible adult.
Oh.
But it was an absolute pleasure to be able to hang out and just, you know, do what I do. Like, yeah, it's totally. But that's the beautiful part about this stuff, is that everyone's just, we're here to have a lot of fun. I hope you guys saw the fan interview I did specifically with a guy named Shark. Yeah. He was just super excited, and we were standing there in the lobby, and he's like, dude, I'm quote-unquote just a viewer, and I'm sitting here like drinking sodas with Lazes and like taking selfies with Boosh. Yeah. And he got to 5, one of his favorite players, in Shing, and that's really what it's all about, man. So I actually got to meet one of my own, one of the viewers that I see a lot, ATR God, both in my channel and on Smite Game, and you know, that's really the real experience, just being able to show up and hang out with all the people that you see online and off. And really, that's what it's all about. And so if you guys ever get a chance to really come down and see what this is, do it. Come to Worlds. Come to the next LAN after that. Just show up and really get to experience what it is to be a part of that cliche hashtag that we call Smite Love. Like, it's hilarious because everybody goes down there expecting one thing, and we're all chilling, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could encourage people right behind you just to go to these events. You will find, just as Fdot had talked about, like just from my experience being at the launch tournament, that no one is out of reach. And what I mean by that is you can go and sit down next to any player that you've watched online over the past year or two. They will not be anyone to go. It's not like that high school mentality. Who are you? I don't want to talk to you. We're all nerds. We all love this game. And from pro players to commentators to production staff to Hi-Rez executives, they'll be the first one to shake your hand, say hello, ask you who your favorite god is. So go ahead, like, check it out. I don't even know if tickets are still available because they sold out so much for Worlds, but if there are and you have a way to get there, go, because it's definitely worth it. Fdot will be there in fashion like he always is, going ahead and playing commentator or host. I will be there in one fashion or another, if it's just as a spectator or viewer or involved with something. Either way, I'll be there. So come join us, hit us up on Twitter, come say hello. Fdot and I would greatly appreciate it. We always like talking with fans, introducing ourselves, so please, definitely come out. All right, Fdot, well, I'm going to let you go. I know you have a dinner to get to here. It's almost 9 o'clock, so I know you have to get to that. But thanks, man, for calling in. I appreciate it.
Always, man. SmiteUpdate life. But not pleasure. Thanks for having me, and it's definitely a lot of fun to be here. I'll be coming home, which is nice, but just a great part. I talked all day, man. All my words are gone. It's just a great feeling to be a part of it all. So 10 points to everybody that went, and I hope to see everybody at Worlds.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks, Tom, for calling in. I appreciate it. I will let you go now.
Sounds good, man. Peace out.
See ya. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and round out the show here. Once again, we appreciate Fdot going ahead and calling in from Atlanta. It was super cool to see that. He actually caught us last minute. We were talking and hanging out with iRapper and Smitten, and Fdot just jumped in last minute, shot me a message. Hey, I can call in. So really great. Appreciate him calling in, spending what, half hour maybe talking about the event and how he had such a great time. So once again, guys, I appreciate you coming out and watching the Smite Update show tonight. Usually the show airs on Smite Game, but rebroadcast going on this weekend last. Not a big deal. So we're right now tonight on my stream personally. And next week, we don't know of anything going on Sunday late afternoon, so you hopefully will see the Smite Update show on there. Those of you guys not familiar, the Smite Update show airs every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/SmiteGame. Well, folks, I am heading out. Make sure you go over to Smite Game, follow and subscribe to that channel if you can financially afford it. And for myself, for my co-host Fdot, and also for my other co-host Smitten, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.